Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 4 of the Titan Esports Divinity League versus Monkey's Newsroom. And joining me for the first time, I believe the two of us been casting
Yes.
together, it's Jay Beto. And how are you doing today?
Doing good. It's a nice, lovely morning for me, upside down land over here. But yeah, I think this is the first time we've casted together. I'm very excited to be here. I'm always excited to be on this cast. I haven't seen any of these players either, so a lot of these impressions from me are going to be first impressions. I mean, you know the saying, first impressions matter. So we'll have to see, what these teams end up going towards. There was a bunch of changes going through recently. The patch notes for MSI. There's still another patch to come through as well. Does that change up the game significantly in this division? A team's just going to say, no, we're just going to play whatever we want? Or are they going to try to play towards some of the stuff that's been buffed or drop some of the stuff that's been nerfed?
I mean, it's really going to depend. I do know some of these players. I've casted them over on the Blue Otter Platinum Division. Uh, I've seen Efron play. Efron has been a very solid mid laner there. And then really that entire Monkeys
Mm.
roster. I keep calling them Knights. I don't know why. There is a Monkeys Knights team. I don't think it's them though. But yeah, Batman, Korra, Killer Fox. I've even had the pleasure of talking with Killer Fox a few times before. It's a
Mm.
solid team. It's a solid roster. Now, as for the patches changing things up, this was a pretty massive patch. I mean, this is definitely a
Mm.
pro skewed patch. A lot of the
Yeah.
changes may not translate as well over to
Mm.
this Emerald Cap division. But still gonna be interesting to see what does come through. And I mean, I think the biggest thing is the Senna nerfs. I know some teams have still liked it, but
Yeah.
down to 10% is quite a pretty significant drop.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. They right can't really seem to find the spot that they like for Senna. Nerfing her, then she's an enchanter, then she's not an enchanter, then she's ADC, now she's not again. I also want to shout out some of the guys on the Monkeys team. Like these are some banger names. Small news, big news, Batman. Here's some big names in here. I'm a big fan of some fun names.
Yeah, it's always fun when you see that with these players, but we have a little
Mm.
bit of an introduction to these two teams. Both sides are currently 2-1 after week 3, though it is important to note that Monkey's Newsroom didn't play in week 3. The enemy forfeited. Now that team
Mm.
I believe, is yet to win a map regardless. They were bottom of the standings even before that. So very likely that Monkeys would have been able to at least win that matchup. Gonna be interesting to see how they do end up playing it out today, and who's gonna be the one that's going to be able to be the 3-1 after this week, because that's gonna be a pretty big distinction.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, standings in the earlier weeks is always a bit of a bait because you can have teams play against some very easy matchups, inflate your standings. Some teams have some very hard matchups in the early, week one, week two, week three. It'll flesh out eventually. Um, but yeah, obviously, it still does matter for mostly your own ego. I think that there's nothing that at this point in the schedule, losing a match will get you out of finals, out of playoffs. So it's nothing that you need to worry about too much. But mostly scouting these teams. If you're not scrimming a ton, which I can't, I literally don't know. This is the best opportunity to scout these teams, see how they play, develop strategies against them, develop those into playoffs, and work towards, hopefully winning, as I'm sure every team wants to do. But it is difficult, right? Things change, like we're talking about the patches. But yeah, I uh, I think 80 carry is still the pool that I've been talking a lot about with some other casters. In Fearless, it just seems like 80 carry starts getting pinched super early and very aggressively, and the uncomfortability seems to come to light very quickly.
I think it's because marksmen in general have a much smaller pool of champions to pick from to begin with.
Mm,
Now, when that new champion does get released, it will be helped just a little bit. I mean,
yeah.
every little bit adds up, you know? And I think there's, and I know this is an unpopular take to a lot of AD carry mains. I myself am an AD carry main,
Same.
but you can play mages in the bot lane, especially in competitive. Like, it is very good for a reason. It is very high win rate for a reason. It's so difficult to lose those kinds of lanes because you're always going to be able to
Yeah.
get something out of it. You can one shot clear. That's not something most marksmen can talk about. So
Hmm.
if you're able to pull that into your pool, that makes it a lot easier. But right now, it is time we head into draft for game number 1. And we were talking about the marksman. And again, obviously, I don't know how much you know these two teams, but do you expect marksman to be kind of pinched again here?
I think, yeah. I think what I've seen in these recent weeks over in some other leagues and obviously Titan as well, 80 carry bans tend to come through quite frequently. Not necessarily the same ones we see in pro. No Callista bans, but the Jinx, the Varus, things like that. But right now, a lot of prioritization towards the jungle for Conduit and a bit of support banning out here for monkeys. The mages and the bot is a great shout as well. There's one of the 80 carries there. MF getting taken off the table, taking both parts of the combo away as well. MF plus the Leona. I mean, you could be looking for something like an enchanter support then with the Leona ban. Triple jungle ban, really trying to target out Batman here from Conduit. As you go from the first pick, Conduit obviously on the blue side. See what they have to go here.
Yeah, I mean, we got some notes from our producer about these two teams before we did start the cast, and they really like playing for that mid lane, and a lot of it does come from Batman in the jungle, just kind of always making sure that mid lane scales, always making sure that mid lane does okay. So kind of interesting to see that instead of trying to pitch the mid lane pool, they're trying to pinch away the jungle pool away from Batman. But already a few picks locked in there. It's going to be the Wukong, most likely in the jungle for Conduit, and then Batman going to be playing the fight, and the Smolder is going to get locked in as well. Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting strategy from Conduit. I like it. Ban away some of the junglers that you don't want to play against, and then first pick an early, early pick a jungler. First picking the Wukong. Does have scaling. You open up for the Vi pick, which has a much better time early to mid game once the Wukong gets some items on and has some good targets. But drafting a Smolder this early is a bit of a worry for me. I think the Jinx does a great job against something like the Smolder, and the Wukong has a pretty decent time catching onto the Smolder as well. And you've banned Leona for monkeys. And I've just heard might be a wrong pick here or there, so we'll once those get sorted out, we'll be able to talk about those. But I'm assuming the junglers are correct. I would hope that the junglers are correct. I do like this. They're very brawly junglers. Wukong a bit more later skewed, the Vi a bit more early skewed, but some great team fighting potential.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of team fight available, definitely for the side of Conduit. But what does worry me a little bit is that they do have the Braum right now. But assuming these are all the correct picks, I'm just going to talk as if there are. But
yeah,
Vi is going to be able to get onto the Jinx no matter what. That's not going to be something that you can prevent. And then the Equalizer also cannot be blocked by Braum Wall either. So they're still going to have quite a bit of damage and follow-up ready for the Jinx. So the positioning that Chrome Alone's going to have to bring out is still going to need to be a little bit careful. Even with Cyclone and just everything else that the Braum's going to be able to bring out. And or engage a little bit of team fight coming out from Monkey's Newsroom without Maokai. And I really like that pick. I think it will help them out quite a bit in terms of what they're lacking. But there we go. Completely different drafts. Oh, all right.
Completely different draft. Let's talk about it. Let's have a look at the Conduit side first. A lot of engage, right? You got the Renekton, the Volibear. You got the Sivir, the Hui. All good, no worries, Mr. Production Man. A lot of scaling here as well for the Hui, the Sivir, a lot of run it down for Conduit. On the side of monkeys, I love the Varus. I'm a huge fan of Varus. Varus is my main. There's no way that got picked. I'm going to say that's a bug until I see it in game. I refuse to talk about it. Rel Varus is a great combo. Aurelia is really risky. Like, it's one of the biggest, I need to show off how good my hands are on the keyboard champions there is. Does work pretty decently with Sejuani, right, to stack the passive. But it's a risky draft from monkeys here. If this is actually a Teemo, I don't know where this is going. Teemo mid into Hui.
Small news is Teemo is the highest mastery champion. Small news. So this is definitely going to be going into the top lane. It's going to be a little bit difficult to the Renekton, because I think Renekton is one of those champions that can just fully one-shot the Teemo. But
yeah,
I mean, I've never cast a Teemo. That's definitely going to be something very interesting. And there's a lot of auto attackers on the side of Conduit. The blind is going to come out quite clutch for this team. And I am a little bit surprised, though, just because they do have the Sejuani. I would have expected something melee going out into the top side. but I mean, they still have quite a bit happening in the mid lane. They still have quite a bit happening in the bot lane in terms of having those procs. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they do play around it.
And talking about the bot lane early game with the Varus and the Rel, just significantly stronger, right? Sivir, very low range, has great pushing power, but Alistar early game against Varus is really, really hard to play. So Monkeys feeling good about that bot lane. I would imagine, you know, you're looking for level 6 for these junglers. Volibear, not as much. He sells a stun, but Sejuani is a level 6 champion through and through. You need to play it at level 6.
Exactly, but either way, here we are. We're in game number 1 between Conduits and Monkeys. I mean, these are two big organizations in the amateur scene. They have a ton of games together and all that. Like, they've been playing in so many different leagues. It's going to be interesting to see which one of them does end up coming out on top today.
Looks like we're just getting the game work in here. Thank you, Riot, for all of the wonderful effort you put into the spectator clients. We were talking about that off air a little bit earlier. But with this Monkeys draft, I am a fan. I do like it. I think that Aurelia, now that it's into the Hui, is quite difficult, right? That's a really hard matchup early game. You are going to get poked like for most of the game until you're able to team fight, and Aurelia is not the best team fighter in general. The team fight, other than that, right, I'm going to ignore the top lane. Sejuani, Varus, Rel is super strong. It's a great, 3 core when you've got the bot lane roaming up to mid. You got the Aurelia in a side lane, the team obviously in a side lane too. That's a really strong core 3. But like the supporting picks that are playing with that don't really scream value to me. I'm sure high mastery Teemo, he might be a god in lane, but I'm not convinced by the team fight. It's one of the things, like, I remember talking to a player about like Kane. He had a really, really high Kane mastery. He was flexing his Kane mastery to me in DMs. And I'm thinking, like, well, it's not a great comp pick. And I feel like TF is kind of the same thing. I'm not convinced by how many mastery points you have. But we'll have to see. I'm open to be convinced, and I am excited to see if it doesn't do well.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited as well, but we're just going to have to see how it does come through. One moment.
Yes, we can't see the game.
Yeah, we're just having some issues back here, but we'll
you guys
have
can
that sorted out soon.
Yeah, I mean, we're chilling here. We've got some, we got a lot of league to go through today, so that's good. And a lot of league in the coming weeks, which I'm very excited for as well. Tons of divisions. Make sure you guys watch all of them. Don't want to miss out on any. And tune into Titan After Dark for some after hours fun.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's where it really should be going. But just talking a little bit about the drafts that you had in terms of the team fighting. One thing I will note that is pretty interesting for that is that it is going to be the Arcane Comet on the Varus. So it is going to be Poke Varus coming in. And I think that is the right call for something like this. Because if it on hit is a lot stronger in team fights, I think no one's going to deny that. But if you're able to pick someone off, that completely changes the dynamic of the game. So hopefully that will be the solution as we are in. And actually we're seeing an invade coming in right away from Nazian. And Batman is going to be on the opposite side of it, but should not be able to approach it.
We are out.
That seems like it is going to be a successful steal. So Batman's just going to be pretty behind there. Going to be in a pretty bad spot from it. I could choose to invade the bot side. And a little bit of poke happening in the bot lane as well, but not going to end up mattering too much there. So it's just going to be a little bit of trading.
I love the point of the poke Varus. I think that against something like this Hui, later on, it's really difficult for Varus to play on hit. I love on hit Varus. I think it's really, really good. But there's decent on hit targets, Renekton, Volibear, Alistar, but the dive might honestly just be too much to warrant the on hit Varus. It might be too scary. The question is then, is there enough damage to get through the front line of Conduit, right? Alistar, still support, but is still super tanky with the ult, right? Very, very tanky with that ult, especially if he's able to get to level 3 ult. You know, then there's the Volley Bear, the Renekton, but up in top, actually.
Yeah, they're going towards small news here. They're going to be able to land the stun, and that is kind of the issue of the Teemo early on. Can blind one, cannot blind both, so that is first blood. That's going to be going over to Soaz. Or So Easy, sorry. So that is going to be a pretty massive... that's going to be a pretty massive start. That's going to be first blood going over to the side of Conduit. And Teemo's one of those champions that you definitely want to take advantage of in the lane. So if you're not able to get that, it's just so difficult to play after that. Renekton just becomes scary and scarier as the game goes on.
Yeah, Renekton also like quite a lane dominant top lane champion. One of the best ones, in fact. I got a bit baited by the Rumble in the earlier draft because I was excited to talk about how much I love Rumble and Rumble Vi, but we got baited. But Renekton, I'm still super happy to see. I talk about it all the time. Whew, Korra taking a lot of poke there. But, you know, using those pots. Gank actually from Batman.
Batman's going to be coming in with the Arctic Assault, and Efron gonna get stunned up, and Korra gonna be able to get the kill. And we were talking about the potential snowballs that we can see from the top side. That is definitely going to be doable just coming in from the bot side here. Or from the mid lane, sorry.
Oh, apologize, ladies and gentlemen. There is just a bit of issues with our stream happening on our end. It's a bit hard for us to see what's going on, but, you know, we're here and doing everything we can. And I love production. We can hear you. I don't know why, but we can. But yes, this early game, I mean, Renekton getting that early first blood is a big deal. And getting that early kill. Aurelia, though, off to a decent start as well. I mean, it's not the end of the world for Efron, but Korra getting this kill onto the Aurelia shows
but in the
some
bot side,
Korra's
going to be able to get the kill over the mid lane, but in the bot lane, they're looking towards big news, and now Killer Fox going to be the next target, but I don't think Illicit Raven has any more cooldowns to toss into the mix, but that's still going to be a flash and barrier burned from big news, and just so much going on at the top side at the same time.
Yeah, brawling all over the map right now. Only 5 minutes in. The kills haven't really bled into too much, but both these teams wanting to get active early. Dragon has spawned. I was talking before about the level 6 for these junglers might be the contention point for the rest of the game. Maybe leaving this Dragon for now.
But Nazian walking into the top side. Small news. Maybe in a bad spot, and So Easy even has a minion wave to dash through if it's necessary, but Small news just gonna flash away. That was no cooldowns used on the side of Conduit as a 1-for-1 trade in the mid lane, but that's gonna be feats going the way of Monkey's Newsroom, but at the same time, getting a shutdown on Efron is pretty good as well.
Yeah, I mean, you see a start from the Aurelia, right? Has the lifesteal hammer, vampiric, and over on the way only has that tier. So decent trade to be able to pick that up. Actually, that's, you know, an all-in. Looks great for Korra, but for Efron to find the trade back is a big deal. Obviously, stops the shutdown stacking, which doesn't feel great. But it is what it is up in top. So Easy getting looked at. Safe here.
Yeah, So Easy should be able to just back away with a Dominus. Going to be in a very precarious spot. That is flash burned. So Small News is going to be able to have a little bit of time to themselves. But again, So Easy still stays alive. But a CS lead is starting to grow for that Teemo. But like you mentioned earlier, I don't know how much they're going to be able to accomplish later on in the game.
This Dragon still hasn't been looked at all right now, Koki. As I just say that, they do start it up. This aren't on this Drake, and very little contestation in the Sejuani. Good zoning away from the support from Conduit as well. And that this first Dragon, I mean, it's not too much worth compared, you know, you're not losing the game or anything. Grubs spawning in a minute. Might be a contention for these teams. I think that the Volley Bear, the Renekton have a great time in a side lane. They would love to be hitting these towers. But on the same side, you know, you've got an Aurelia. Aurelia with 3 grubs is an issue. And is there anyone who can deal with this Aurelia late game? You know, can the Renekton? Has to go the
definitely not, but everyone getting a jump on, but excellent fear. Everyone was in such a bad spot, but huge skill shot landed.
A very nice micro play there from Efron. Means that he stays safe in this lane for now. Nice look as well, Killer Fox there, but you just gotta say, man, outplayed there a little bit when if you're that rel there, you get feared. Bit unfortunate. Ping's coming out on the top side. Batman has rotated over. Grubs have now spawned. Getting started up by Conduit first.
And it's interesting that they're the ones that are starting it because they have left their bot laner down in the lane as they're going to be able to land the Glacial Prison, and they're just aiming for so easy. The Dominance is popped and is trying to back away, but a couple more hits and Batman's going to be able to get the kill. And I'm so surprised they went for that. They had their Sivir in the bot lane.
Yeah, the rotate up from Monkeys. The numbers advantage is great. Grubs over towards them now. And kills onto this Aurelia. Like, it's such a big deal. Aurelia, Sejuani getting one as well is really important. I'm worried. Because I was worried about this Aurelia being a problem. I was worried that Cora wasn't going to be able to perform, but she has shown so far that this Aurelia is an issue. Obviously, this is Fearless, so you're not going to have to worry about Aurelia for the rest of the set, which is a good thing. But for upcoming weeks, I mean, Aurelia is a problem. What else can Cora play? That just pulls out of nowhere, smashes mid, has a big lead. Obviously, we got to get to the team fights. Will the Aurelia continue to be strong across the game? That's another question. But for now, Cora off to an excellent start in Monkeys as well, following strong.
I mean, they're getting a lot done right now. About a 1k gold lead going for Monkeys. They already have Feats of Warfare, and they already have 2 grubs as well. So both sides currently sitting at one of those monster objectives. But you're talking about the Irelia, and it's such a strong point because there's no one that can 1v1 the Irelia. Efron could be sent down just to clear the waves, but that's really all that Efron's going to be able to do. The priority is still going to go the way of Irelia, and that definitely gets scary. But on the flip side of it, Chrome alone has built up a very, very solid CS lead, already has the completed item before the Varus, and when you're on the lethality build, it's so much easier to get those items.
Yeah, it's surprising as well. I mean, Sivir having a decent CS number does make sense. That's what you're playing her for, right? To push in waves a ton. But, I mean, when you're playing Varus, big news, missing out on, like, not an insignificant amount of CS either. It's quite a bit, you know? 10 here, 15 was before. That's a big deal in the early game. I think that this Varus needs more time for these items. Sivir already has this Essence Reaver online. That's a problem for these team fights. I mean, Monkeys do have the 2 grubs, which we've been talking about this Aurelia, and talking about this Aurelia in the side lane. Cora with these 2 grubs, it's not 3, but it's still a big deal. Not only can, you know, Cora now find the 1v1s with against Efron, but now look very confidently towards pushing these towers rather than the 1v1. The Chrome alone in a really decent spot right now, continuing this CS lead. Small News getting all in by so easy.
It's going to be coming out. So now Small News should be just going down here. I mean, there's not too much you can do as a team. A will flash away, and actually Batman is in the area. Could be coming down to help, running towards a mushroom, and they're going to use the Frozen Tomb, but it might be a trade. Flash is going to get used by both of them, so it's still trying to survive. Has the Conqueror proc, is healing up a little bit, but the permafrost stacks are there, not even needed, as now Cora going to be the next target and will get stunned up, and now they're going to use everything, and looks like it's just going to be Cora going to pop. Efron going to get that kill with Aspiring Despair, but Cora actually manages to get a kill back thanks to the towers. Overall on the map, an even trade of 2 for 2.
So Easy finds a great all-in onto Small News. We take a look back here. This dive disables the tower. It's unfortunate. Nissan tanks way too much of this tower. But a great dive, shutting down Cora. And that's the thing, right? Aurelia is not safe. Bot lane, we're still fighting, actually.
And they're always going to be looking for that. And Chrome Alone's trying to survive and gives up. Just wanted to get a few more last hits. And now everyone's going to be the next target. Does not have a lot of HP. Will get hit by the Flawless Duet. Cora going to get another kill. And I mean, that's some insane gameplay right now. They have 4 in the bot lane. They have 2 grubs. They could start getting some plates. But it looks like Cora might be getting targeted back, at the very least pushed off this way. But another 2-for-0 for Monkeys as the dragon spawns.
And yeah, Cora gets shut down in the mid lane. Sure, a kill over to Efron. Sure. Oh, because Cora gets the trade 1-for-1 onto an important member, the jungler. and then is able to rotate bot and continue this aggression. Okay, when you're getting dove by 3 people and one of them's a volley bear, the Aurelia doesn't feel that strong, but in these team fights it does. When you're able to fight these long engages, great 2v2 to start this off. Chrome Malone is completely shut out by the Ignite. Flashes towards Efron as the TP's channeled. Killer Fox just chasing down Chrome Malone, Efron as well. Stunned out. Here comes the Aurelia. Cora, great stun. Finds the last hit there with the W. Just some really good Aurelia mechanics. Nothing flashy, just solid.
I mean, sometimes that's all you need. And Cora, she's able to get so many kills there. 5, 2, and 0 now. As the completed Blade of the Ruin King has the Merc Treads. There is quite a bit of lockdown on the side of Conduit. There's going to be that stun coming out from the Renekton. There's gonna be the Thundering Smash coming out from the Volley Bear. And the Fear, obviously, from Efron. I think that's gonna be the main thing. It's going to remove the amount of safety that Efron's gonna have in that 1v1. And like we said, it's going to be up to Efron trying to hold back Cora for the rest of this game.
It's a risk, right? You run the risk of, if you get engaged on at all by Aurelia, from this point onwards, you basically die, unless Efron can get a significant amount of gold. But if Efron's able to keep distance, Cora isn't able to get onto this Hui. And there's really nothing Cora can do about the poke. There's no real sustain in Aurelia's kit outside of lane ramp because you want to be hitting the minions.
Oh, but they are going to land the Chain of Corruption. Looking towards the backline. Chrome Alone just kiting away. Able to land the Boomerang Blade as well. And now they're the ones that are going to go up. And it's Chrome Alone with a shutdown on a Big News. Killer Fox started the fight, but forced to run to the hills. Big News, the only one punished for that play.
And that's the member you don't want punished for that play either. Cora, who've been harping on the entire game, has had a great time, but Chrome Alone slowly building up this CS lead. Finds another 2v2 in bot. The first one didn't go great with some TPs down from Monkeys, but Conduit have a win condition now on the bot side. If Efron can continue to... Whoa, what a bit of poke here. Just, you know what? I feel like that's a damage check. I need to see how much damage I do to this Sejuani, guys. Okay, it was 0. I need more items.
Yep. The important thing is we know, and knowing is half the battle. So everyone will be in a better position after that. But I'm interested about this top lane right now because, so in the early game, we did see a few ganks coming in from Nazi and onto Small News, but after that, So Easy's kind of been left alone. As in the bot lane, Cora going to go down in a 1v3, and Nazi looks like they want to keep going on to Batman, but Batman just looking to clear those minions. Kind of back to what I was talking about over on the top side. So Easy's still falling further and further behind now. Oh, but the Stormbringer is going to be going in. They're looking towards Nazian. But it looks like, again, it's just going to be to take this turret, and that will be the first turret of the game, going towards Conduit.
I mean, Conduit have found the answer towards a Cora on this Aurelia. It sent 3 people down towards Cora at all parts of the game. Hex Flash.
The target is going to get hit by the Shattering Strike, the Crash Down as well, and the Chains of Corruption. Just everything landing. Needs one more auto, one more skill shot, and it's not going to be there. And actually, Efron able to get the snipe, and it's Big News that goes down instead. Efron just min-maxing that entire play.
That was so much damage from this Hui. Efron executes Big News in that mid lane through the barrier. Big News has flash available. Could have looked for a last auto there. Small News
is getting caught out right now. We'll get hit with a Pulverize, and now the Trample as well. Do they have the damage? Actually, the flash coming out from the Teemo, but now Chrome Alone is here with the Hunt as well. So Easy is in the area and will secure that kill, and just in time for the Herald to spawn. And so this is not going to be feats yet, but this will be just one away once they do lock this Herald down.
Cora was able to get a tower down in bot lane. Yeah, look at this. So a great engage from Killer Fox. Chains of Corruptions hits as well. Everyone misses one of those abilities there. One auto, feared away. Look at that damage. That is unbelievable that everyone can do that. And this isn't a fed Hui by any means. This is just normal, I've been solo killed once or twice Hui. Half hitting Varus completely through barrier as well. What do you do there?
You pick a different role. You pick a mage in the bot lane. You know, Hui can be played in the bot lane, but not
just
gonna get
crying.
I mean, that's all it really is, but they're looking to invade on Nazi. In fact, they're going to flash in. Magnetic Storm as well, crash down. Do they have the damage? And right now, it doesn't seem like they do, but they do have the Frozen Prison in the middle of everyone, and Vanguard's Edge may not be enough. Chrome alone will actually go down. Cora will chase back in. Why did he go back in? But Killer Fox still trying to survive in the front line, but there's just too much on the side of Conduit. A triple kill going the way of Efron, and it's a 3-for-1. And again, now just in time for the Dragon.
I want to make sure that I hide. Oh my god, good cancel there. That's a free kill. A bit of creative herald driving there, as Small News going to get this top tower as well. So Monkey's still pulling back some wins. I want to make sure, before I say this, I think Cora has played amazing on Aurelia. But that play to me seems very much like a what year was your champion created in? Was it closer to today? You win. Because Aurelia does everything. Smashing hand on keyboard, stun, alt, Q, Q, Q everywhere, dashing all over, have a look. Stun on 2, double Q, alt, Q, W, auto Q. And then Hui just presses R, presses his keys a couple of times, and he gets a triple kill. I mean, I'm not trying to take it away from Efron, but it really just is a champ diff at this point. This is one of the reasons I was a bit stressed about this Aurelia, and I'm happy we get to potentially look at this Herald again. No, I wanted to see. Unlucky. No more Herald in.
Yeah, never lucky, but you know what? At the end of the day, we got to see it once, and there's always going to be the replay if we do want it. But right now,
Sure.
Chrome alone. Again, we haven't really talked too much about this Sivir, but this Sivir has been farming pretty securely this entire game. Already on 1.5 items. Should be completing that second one pretty soon. And that's going to be a pretty big scaler for their late game. And they need someone that can deal with the Sejuani. And as we saw, Efron cannot. But Chrome alone should definitely be able to do that for the team.
I mean, it enables, like, this is the best thing about Sivir, is it just enables your team to play in different ways. Retreat, aggression. You've already got poke with this Hui. Everyone's been doing a great job. 6 and 3 has these 2 items now. Very strong position. Once this Sivir gets this Navori online, obviously the cooldowns are going to be significantly lower, but the attack speed is very, very meaningful now. The ult is just the most important part of the kit, though. Allowing Volibear, Renekton, and Alistair to just sprint at the enemy team. Another thing as well, 2 dragons to 1. It's not the end of the world for monkeys, but it's Mountain Soul this game, and you have a Alistair, Volibear, Renekton. Not super tanks, it's not on, but they're still super tanky. Who is killing these tanks this game?
It's a Hex Gate.
Oh,
Is,
you're right. I got trolled by the
feature.
another riot. I got riot diffed. Well, I can also say, talking about Hex Soul, great for Varus. It's probably Varus, especially Poke Varus's best soul. Works incredibly well. It works really well with AoE ults. A ton of those are on both of these teams, right? Rel works great with. Aurelia works great with. Volibear, Hui, Sivir with the bouncing autos. It works great with all those. I mean, Hexal is just the best and the most fun. So, that's kind of a moot point.
Easy.
Down in bot.
Into Small News, and we'll have the Dominus pop now, and I think Small News, the champ diff is starting to come into play here. At this point, it's so easy, can just one-shot. The team can just wait out the blind. Only 400 gold up. I think a big part of that is that first turn and the CS, but I mean, that's still, it just shows how impossible it becomes for the team later on.
I mean, so easy, just got a kill, right? So before that kill, the goal was basically even.
But Vanguard's Edge has been used, and they have the Spiraling Despair in the backline, so Cora gonna be sent away, not going to get sniped. So a lot of ultimates used, but ultimately it's just gonna be the flash removed from Efron, as So Easy gets a huge wave in the bot lane, just half of that tier 2.
This game feels very tense, Toki. Feels like it's on a knife's edge right now. Not that any one thing is going to tip it, right? Baron hasn't spawned, there's no soul available, but both teams still feel close together. There are points of weakness for both teams. Small News hasn't had the best game so far. I think that this Volibear as well hasn't really found the success that I would have loved to see from the Volibear. But, great things. Efron played well. Chrome alone.
Mid lane, but it's gotta be stopped by Illicit Raven, but they're still going to get the Glacial Prison into the backline, but there's no follow-up available, and now the team fight can go the other way. The hunt has been popped. Batman is going to be left to die, trying to get away with the Arctic Assault, but there's just nowhere to go. Chrome alone going to be able to secure that kill. And the Otacon's available, tier 2 in the mid lane's available, but it looks like right now they're just going to be content shoving out the lanes and maybe getting some vision across the map.
Well, a bit of all in there in mid. See if we can look at him.
Yeah, and actually a TP going to be coming out as well. But the TP's going to the bot lane. It looks like they want Swanus and Courage, who just absolutely start shredding through this. So easy, 1v2, I believe. Probably not the right call, but actually Dominus is going to get popped. It will clear out the wave. And now blinded, but still holding on, and is actually doing a lot of damage to both.
What?
As Small News is going to be gone, and now Chrome Alone's going to be here to help out. The Vanguard's Edge does not help out so easy. With a little bit of help from Chrome Alone, but for the most part, a 1v2 and able to get the double kill. And that's their most fed member on the side of Monkeys.
Yeah, that was the person who we were talking about. You need to come up with an answer for this side lane. There is an answer. It's the Crocodile. Walks in. And you're tanking tower a little bit at the end here, sure, but not really. It really is just so easy decimating Small News in this lane, in these small skirmishes. Cora tries, she can't find enough. I mean, this again, it's Aurelia later on, no big wave to dash through. You don't have time. It's also not a great matchup for Aurelia because Aurelia dashes in, you get stunned, and you eat full Renekton combo.
But it looks like they're aiming for another fight now. Batman going to be the target. The Hun has been popped as well. And I'm actually a little bit surprised that Monkeys didn't try to counter engage there, but they will be able to secure their own blue buff as both sides. They're still just kind of looking at each other, but not really looking to start the fight. But you were talking earlier about those big tipping points. There's Otacon now, there's Baron now, and both of those are going to be on the top half of the map. So I definitely expect to see some action going on in that side.
I mean, continuing that point as well, one of the biggest tipping points has kind of happened right now. I mean, we didn't get to see on camera Conduit get Soul Point, but they are on Hex Soul Point right now. And that's due to, first of all, so easy finding that 2v1, great. But mostly, this look from Monkeys onto Chrome Alone in the mid lane slightly before. Chrome Alone on Sivir has Spell Shield plus Cleanse. You are never hitting Glacial Prison onto this Sivir, like catching her out. It's not happening. So looking in mid, using Glacial Prison, I think it ends up hitting Raven on this Alistar instead, which is also able to be cleansed away with the ult. And then you've committed so much utility forwards. Hopefully that's a pause and not a DC, a rage quit. But hopefully that's going to be sorted out soon. But yeah, you overcommit a ton of your tempo, a ton of your resources that facilitate your team fight, mostly this Glacial Prison. And then unfortunately, you get TP'd on, you all die, and so Easy finds a 2v1. Now you're against Soul Point, Hex Soul. This is a big deal for Conduit. They are heavily in the driver's seat.
Now they're going in, and the Vanguard's Edge and the Glacial Prison just flashed away from Nazian. I don't think that's enough to take the Otacon, but that might be enough for Conduit to maybe look for an engage. 2 major ultimates gone.
Have a look at Efron though, pushing down bot lane. They don't really care about this objective at all. It's all a hoax. Get more farm on Efron here on this way, and he has TP available at any time. As soon as Cora is seen on this wave, I assume could be either a TP, but Efron's just roaming up.
It looks like
dive
it's
on
gonna
the
be a
top
dive.
tower.
Listen, Raven is in the area, saving Nazian, but the Magnetic Storm able to land on a 3. Another Stormbreaker gonna turn off the turn for now. As Termalo just gonna be autoing onto the team. Now they're looking for more Efrons here as well. And that's gonna be 2 headbutt pulverized and everything used on Batman. This is 3 for nothing. And Cora's in the bot lane now. So because of that, they're just gonna be able to get themselves those 2 kills for free. They're gonna be able to look for the Baron. They're just gonna skip the Otacon and go straight for the objective. And I mean, I think that's massive. If they're able to secure this Baron, they're already on a massive gold lead. That may have been the team fight that absolutely breaks open this game. Having said that, I'm wondering if they do want to just continue going for the Otacon, because Core is still showing, and it looks like they are just going to be aiming straight for the Otacon. They're going to be able to get, they should be able to get this as well. It doesn't look like Monkey's Newsroom, they don't want to continue on with it. They don't want to try contesting anything here. They are back on the map, and the HP bars are low, but I don't even know if it is something that's possible. But
Wow.
with that, that's going to be 2 major objectives taken over. As hey, Beto, welcome back and take a look at this.
I am back,
fight.
yes. My apologies. I mean, it's Efron with this TP, right? He has prior to roam over. They get the tower. Look at this roam. Big news isn't even here. It's a 5v3 under tower. What is Tino supposed to do in a dive like this? Blind 1 target? Great, there's 4 more hitting you. And not only that, not all of them need to auto-attack you, right? Efron on this way doesn't care about Timo at all. I'm all for having fun in draft and playing whatever you want to, but we're looking at, basically like solo queue ranked picks here, where you're hoping that the enemy team doesn't know how to play against your teammate and that you get mega fed and just smash lane. In pro play, in competitive play, it doesn't really ever pan out that way. As well as the Aurelia, again, Cora's played really well on the Aurelia, really well in lane. Doesn't really slot in for me too well. I'm looking at a Sejuani, a Varus, Aurelia, a great core 3, like I mentioned before, with no more follow-up, no top lane dive, zone, carry potential, no mid lane damage, no real AP either. Like, okay, Timo, I don't really care. There's no real AP for the side of Monkeys. Their draft is a bit all over the place. And Conduit, while it's not conventional, it has some really solid points. This Renekton, this Hui, this Sivir. As they look into mid right now with the Baron.
They're getting a lot of value on all sides of the map. So easy up in that top lane.
Soul as
Everyone
well.
shoving in the bot lane. I mean, that's going to be a decent amount of gold. And Soul Point, like you said, is going to be available. But it looks like Monkeys, they want to try and fight this. They're looking for it. It's already at half HP. So Chromaload, now the Magnet Storm is going to get popped. And Batman just trying to finish it off. And now they have this Prodigy Despair. It hits onto so many. But it is going to get stolen. So Monkeys will be able to have that. But how much do they lose for it? Because Chromaload and Efron. Actually, Chromaload goes down. That's a shutdown going the way of Batman. But now with the fears, Efron will get stunned up at the Glacial Prison. But that's still going to be the team fight going the way of Conduit. And So Easy has already gone in the tier 3 the top side, looking for more. Has a dominance pop. May have gone a little bit too deep. It is 1v3. Do they have the cooldowns? Killer Fox needs to get the Shattered Strike and actually going to go in, but the blind stopping all damage is going to be a shutdown going to big news. And there's still going to be more. And now they're still going to be pushing into the bot side, trying to get this tier 3. And with these Baron up minions, they should be able to take this down. But a lot of the respawn timers are starting to get quite low. It's 3v3 as is. Cora and Batman are going to be back up. And they have TP on Cora if they want to look for a fight. Now they have the Chain of Corruption, but it is only onto Illicit Raven. They're looking for more Crashdown. Gonna get popped onto Nastian and will get shut down. Perfect piercing arrow there, but long fight. Lots of things going over. But I think overall, I would say Conduit won.
Shot through the head right at the air. Sorry, right then at the end there. I mean, So Easy. I think a little bit lost in the sauce. We take back another look at this dragon fight. It's really unfortunate for Conduit they aren't able to get this soul. If they were, the game is pretty much over on the spot because of how strong it is. A great smite from Batman gets it. But look at how split the positions are. While Monkeys are focusing on the dragon, Conduit is focusing on you, on your core members. The backline is completely decimated. Big news, the only one alive, with enough health to really fight. He can't chew through these tanks. He's Poke Virus. He gets one shot, maybe two throughout a fight if he's able to land on, the Q on top of the ult, with the passive at least, to get those resets through. But you're really shotgunning with this Virus. There isn't a ton of... I've been kind of talking about the whole game. The Sejuani and the Rel engage for what? For Virus to hit one WQ and an E after that. For Cora to go in and try her best but end up sacrificing herself anyway. You're going Hullbreaker, Sterax, Bork. These are split pushing items, right? Not only, but Aurelia wants to be in a side lane pushing, and you don't win the side lane, so it's completely useless in that department. Force a team fight. You get another 5 minutes after the dragon. It's only 2.5 now before the soul is back up again. 1 minute on this Baron. The position isn't any better for Monkeys. They can get some XP from these inhibs, sure, but this is a hard position to fight from. Engage, actually!
They're engaging early. That might be what they need, but Alyssa Raven buying so much space. The Unbreakable Will is just so good. And it's going to be Killer Fox going down instead. And now they're looking towards Cora. Vanguard's Edge does come out, but 1v4, just not much you can do about it. As So Easy takes another inhibitor in the bot lane. And this might be it. They might try to just end the game here. So Easy should be the next target. Arctic Assault's not going to be able to land, but does have the Frozen stacks, and now the Frozen 2 as well. And the Glacial Prison, and So Easy just going to go down. Small News will be able to get the kill, but again, at what cost? So Easy pulled 3, and now it's going to be the inhibitor going down in the mid lane as well. That's all 3 inhibs gone on the side of Monkeys, as they are able to do all that, just losing So Easy.
The story of this game continues to remain the same, Turkey. Monkeys finding these great engages. Killer Fox, genuinely an awesome engage. But where's the follow-up? Where is the damage coming from? Watch Killer Fox in here. Flash Magnet Storm onto Raven. Finds another stun here, but there's no follow-up at all. There is 0 damage being done from Monkeys. And Killer Fox has to take the death for it on live right now. The game is ending.
Picture in picture. And it looks like it's just going to be going fully on to Nazian. Nazian actually going to go down. Same with So he was still down from the previous play, but that's a pretty big pick-off. That'll buy some time for them.
Baron has spawned, and because, no jungle for Conduit, no jungle for Monkeys, imagine this Baron is going to be left alone for a while until these respawn timers come through. That will give time for Soul to spawn once again. And what do you go for? Is it the Baron or the Soul? In my opinion, I think Soul is the most important here. You have Hex Soul, you can end the game with that. Triple inhib down. But I mean, it's risky. You're feeding so much XP over to the enemy team when you take triple inhib and don't end the game fast. Big news on this Varus, core on this Aurelia, even small news on the Teemo. They're going to be scaling more and more with all of these waves shoving in, and Conduit aren't getting any because the waves are constantly pushing in. Like I said, I really don't love the give Dragon here. It gives an option for Monkeys to stack their Dragons. Now they're on Soul Point. You take Baron. In my opinion, this is an end on Baron, or you're in a kind of scary position. If you don't end on this Baron right now, which isn't that hard, like you've got triple inhib down, you're really fed still. You've still got like around about a 5k gold lead. But Monkeys, Soul Point, all these inhib super minions pushing in, giving them XP and gold for free. This is the push Conduit need to end the game on.
Now this is where the fight could break open. They also don't have great wave clear on the side of Monkeys, and that could be what they use. But So Easy actually popped the Dominus. So I'm wondering if they do want to try forcing the fight themselves. For now, they're just going to be poking back and forth, letting the waves stack up. And the damage coming in from the ricochet, from those boomerang blades, it's definitely starting to add up. Bit by bit, the Sky Splitter as well. Now the minions are here. They're starting to get down to half HP. If they need to go in, because if they don't go in, eventually they will just get taken out. And it looks like that's what's happening. They're able to get right onto Batman in the backline, as Killer Fox will get finished off as well. And it's going to be 3-0. Just everything blown at the same time. And it's going to be game number 1 going the way of Conduit Esports, as Chrome alone may have gone a little bit too deep in the end, but it doesn't matter because they got the one letter that matters, and it is the W. Oh, Conduit Esports. I mean, that's definitely what they needed to show here. They looked pretty in control for most of the game. There was definitely a few hiccups, but I mean, I gotta say, just in general, they have played absolutely fantastically there. As Jay Beto did disconnect for a minute, so that's why you're seeing me alone here. But I mean, I can talk about this game too. And I think the main thing is Cora got a really early lead, and that was the really scary moment for the side of Conduit. But once they were able to bring 3 down, I believe it was Nausean, Chrome Alone, and Alyssa Raven. Once they had that, it just became so much easier for them. Once they got the Cora down, once they kept this Irelia from fully snowballing, they were just able to win in every other lane. That matchup on the top side between So Easy and Small News was very Renekton favored, as Jay Beto, welcome back.
Back once again, my apologies, but again, I have no idea why that happens. I'm gone for 10 seconds, I'm back. The biggest breaking point for me in that game was the engage onto mid from Batman. I love proactive jungling, I do. That's a ton of Teemo damage, wow.
Yeah.
But again, you're engaging onto a Sivir who has Spell Shield and Cleanse and will be peeled. You use a ton of your tools, then continue to take the team fight. You get TP'd on, So Easy finds a 2v1, now you're down Soul Point. It all kind of dominoes from there. Baron, Atacon after that. The team fights are just going and going and going in favor of Conduit, and Monkeys can't get a grip because they don't really have a team fight that works. When you built a team comp that just works so well together that it's honestly just pretty to watch, to be honest, even if you're down a significant amount of gold, you can still find the team fights because your comp is so solid. But there isn't really a team fight here for Monkeys. Again, I think that Fox found some amazing engages, but it just wasn't enough. There's no follow up. I think Monkeys really need to go back to the drawing board and come at this second game with a completely different mindset.
Well, we'll see exactly what mindset and what draft they do pull out in game number 2. But for now, we're going to go to a short break. And when we come back, we're going to see just what Monkey's Newsroom want to bring out in game 2. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon.